Welcome to Tribute to Stars. I'm Brandon. This channel is a place to honor unforgettable lives that brought joy, talent, and inspiration to the world. Here we remember beloved figures from film, music, television, and culture, reflecting on their journey, their influence, and the memories they left behind. Every tribute helps keep their legacy shining for generations to come. Barbara Lee Hunt, 1935, was an English actress whose career moved gracefully between stage, film, and television. She trained in the discipline of theater and became a familiar presence on both sides of the Atlantic. On Broadway, she appeared in productions such as Hamlet, 1958, Sherlock Holmes, 1973, and Justice, 1974, earning respect for her measured intensity and classical command of language. In 1993, she received the Olivier Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance in the National Theatre revival of An Inspector Calls, a role that reaffirmed her standing as a powerful supporting talent. Her film work included notable appearances in Frenzy, 1972, Henry VIII and His Six Wives, 1972, Bequest to the Nation, 1973, and later in Billy Elliot, 2000, where she contributed understated depth to the ensemble. Lee Hunt remained admired for her precision, restraint, and emotional clarity on screen and stage. She died at the age of 88. No publicly confirmed cause of death has been reported. Her legacy endures through decades of performances that blended classical training with quiet human realism, leaving a lasting mark on British theater and cinema. Her legacy endures through elegance, discipline, and quietly powerful performances across decades still. Charles Dumont, 1929, lived a life shaped by music, persistence, and one unforgettable turning point. Born in Cahors, he spent his early years quietly writing songs for artists like Dalida and Tino Rossi, often working alongside lyricist Michel Vauquer. Everything changed in 1960 when Dumont nervously performed a song for Edith Piaf, a woman who had rejected his work before. That song, Non, Je ne regrette rien, would become one of the most iconic French chansons ever recorded. Piaf immediately recognized its power, declaring it the anthem she had been waiting for. Their collaboration blossomed into more than 30 songs, including Mon Dieu and Les Amants, marking the peak of Dumont's career. After Piaf's death, Dumont continued composing for artists like Jacques Brel, and even saw his work reach international audiences through Barbra Streisand. In the 1970s, he stepped into the spotlight himself as a performer. Dumont passed away peacefully in his sleep, following a long illness. He was 95. His legacy lives on through timeless music that still echoes with emotion, resilience, and the spirit of never looking back. Charlie Lane Johnson, November 22, 1938, lived a life that bridged two very different worlds, professional football and advanced science. Known for his intelligence both on and off the field, Johnson began his journey at New Mexico State Aggies, where he played quarterback and quietly built the foundation for a remarkable career. He went on to spend 15 seasons in the National Football League, leading teams like the St. Louis Cardinals, Houston Oilers, and Denver Broncos. Johnson wasn't the loudest star of his era, but he earned deep respect for his calm leadership, precision passing, and sharp decision-making under pressure. What set him apart, however, was what came after football. While many athletes struggle to redefine themselves, Johnson transitioned seamlessly into academia, becoming a professor of chemical engineering, a rare and inspiring shift. Johnson passed away at the age of 85. While no widely confirmed cause of death has been publicly detailed, it is believed to be due to natural causes. His legacy remains a powerful reminder that greatness isn't confined to one field. It can evolve, adapt, and endure. Craig Shakespeare, 26th October 1963, was a respected figure in English football, known as much for his quiet influence as for his time in the spotlight. He passed away at 60 after a battle with cancer, leaving behind a legacy of loyalty, discipline, and deep football knowledge. As a player, Shakespeare was a hard-working midfielder who built his reputation the traditional way, through consistency and commitment. He made his mark at Walsall FC, where he played over 350 matches. Short spells followed at Sheffield Wednesday, along with more than 100 appearances each for West Bromwich Albion FC and Grimsby Town FC. He later turned out for Scunthorpe United FC before finishing in non-league football. His real impact came on the sidelines. Shakespeare became a trusted coach at several clubs, most notably Leicester City FC. In 2017, he stepped up as caretaker manager and quickly impressed, earning the full-time role. Though his tenure was brief, it reflected his steady leadership style. Later, he contributed as assistant manager at clubs like Everton, Aston Villa, and with the England national team, always valued for his insight and humility. 10 years ago this week, country music reflected on the loss of Merle Haggard, who passed away on his 79th birthday. His career stood as a reflection of lived experience, marked by struggle, resilience, and an unfiltered honesty that shaped his songwriting. Haggard's music didn't try to idealize life, instead, it captured it as it was in all its complexity. Songs that defined an era. Across decades, he built a catalog filled with enduring classics such as Mama Tried an Okie from Muskogee, each reflecting different sides of American life and identity. With more than 30 #1 hits, his voice became a defining presence in country music, balancing sorrow and pride with a delivery that felt deeply personal. His storytelling connected directly with everyday listeners, giving shape to emotions that often went unspoken. A lasting legacy. In 1994, Haggard was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame, cementing his place among the genre's most influential figures. Even years after his passing, his songs continue to resonate across generations. His music remains present in modern country storytelling, reminding listeners that authenticity and lived truth never lose their power, they only grow more meaningful with time. Actor Nicholas Brendon has passed away at the age of 54, leaving fans and colleagues reflecting on a career that blended humor, warmth, and emotional honesty. His death marks a quiet but deeply felt moment for audiences who grew up watching him on screen, especially during the height of his popularity in the late 1990s and early 2000s. For many, he was more than just a television actor. He was a familiar presence who helped shape some of their most memorable viewing experiences. The news has led to an outpouring of remembrance from fans across the world who continue to celebrate his work and the characters he brought to life. Television career. Brendon became widely known for his role as Xander Harris in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where he played a loyal, funny, and emotionally grounded friend within the show's central group. His character brought balance to the series' darker supernatural themes, offering moments of humor and humanity that audiences deeply connected with. Beyond Buffy, he appeared in other television projects such as Criminal Minds and Kitchen Confidential, where he continued to explore different kinds of roles. Across these performances, he showed versatility, shifting between comedy and drama while maintaining a relatable on-screen presence that viewers recognized easily. Legacy and remembrance. Nicholas Brendon's legacy is closely tied to the emotional impact of his most iconic role, but it extends beyond a single series. His performances often carried a sense of vulnerability that made his characters feel authentic and human. Fans continue to revisit his work, finding comfort and nostalgia in the stories he helped tell. While his career had its ups and downs, his contribution to television remains significant, especially within cult television culture. He is remembered not only for the characters he played, but also for the sincerity he brought to them. His work continues to resonate with audiences who grew up with him, ensuring that his presence on screen remains part of television history. In 2013, a globally recognized Hollywood actor made a statement that shifted public discussion in a way few celebrity interviews ever do. After surviving a serious health crisis, he chose to speak openly about the cause of his illness, linking it to a virus commonly transmitted through intimate contact. His intention was not shock value but awareness. For years he had offered simplified explanations, but this time he decided to be fully transparent. The reaction was immediate and intense. Media outlets debated his words, representatives attempted to soften interpretations, and public opinion split between discomfort and appreciation. Yet he did not fully retract his statement. Instead, he clarified and stood by the medical reality behind his experience. His decision turned a personal medical history into a broader public health conversation, encouraging awareness of a condition many people had never associated with cancer risk before. A childhood in the shadow of greatness. The actor, Michael Douglas, was born into one of Hollywood's most influential families. His father, Kirk Douglas, was a towering cinematic figure whose success came with constant absence at home. Growing up, Michael experienced a household divided between admiration for his father's fame and emotional distance from his presence. His parents eventually separated, leaving him navigating two very different environments. One was structured and grounded under his mother's care, while the other was unpredictable and tied to the world of Hollywood ambition. This split shaped his sense of identity early on. He later admitted that much of his career motivation came from a desire to define himself independently of his father's legacy. Instead of following directly in Kirk Douglas's footsteps, he slowly carved his own path, carrying both the pressure of expectation and the emotional weight of distance and comparison throughout his formative years. Building a career beyond a famous name. As Michael Douglas grew older, he deliberately moved into producing and acting roles that would distinguish him from his father's image. One of his earliest major successes came when he acquired rights to a powerful novel and produced a groundbreaking film that earned multiple Academy Awards. That achievement marked a turning point, proving he could succeed independently in an industry where his surname often overshadowed him. Rather than relying on inherited fame, he built credibility through creative risk-taking and strong decision-making behind the scenes. This success established him as both a producer and actor capable of shaping Hollywood narratives in his own right. However, professional accomplishment did not erase internal struggles. While his career expanded rapidly, the emotional complexity of his upbringing continued to influence how he approached relationships, responsibility, and personal validation in both his private and public life. Fame, excess, and personal struggles. During the height of his career, Michael Douglas became a major Hollywood star, known for iconic roles that defined 1980s cinema. With success came wealth, influence, and exposure to a lifestyle filled with constant travel, parties, and temptation. Over time, he entered a period of personal excess that strained his marriage and family life. Despite public appearances of control and confidence, he later acknowledged struggling with alcohol and unhealthy patterns of behavior. His lifestyle choices created distance in his relationships, particularly with his wife at the time, and contributed to growing instability at home. While he sought help through rehabilitation, the underlying issues were deeper than substance use alone. They reflected long-standing emotional patterns tied to validation, identity, and unresolved personal history. This period ultimately marked a turning point where private consequences began to mirror the public success he had long enjoyed. Family consequences and a son's downward spiral. The impact of those years extended most deeply into the life of his son, Cameron Douglas. Growing up in an environment shaped by fame and instability, Cameron struggled with identity and direction. As he entered adulthood, he began using drugs, which eventually escalated into legal trouble involving distribution charges. His arrest and sentencing to prison became a defining moment for the family. During court proceedings, Michael Douglas publicly expressed deep regret, acknowledging that his own behavior and absence had influenced his son's path. Cameron later received a lengthy prison sentence, spending years incarcerated while his father continued working in film and recovering from health challenges. The situation forced Michael to confront difficult truths about parenting, responsibility, and the unintended consequences of a lifestyle shaped by fame. It became one of the most painful chapters in his personal life, reflecting how private decisions can affect generations. A new relationship and renewed stability. In the late 1990s, Michael Douglas met actress Catherine Zeta-Jones, marking a new chapter in his personal life. Their connection developed quickly, leading to marriage and the birth of 2 children. This period initially brought stability and renewed optimism. Michael appeared to settle into family life with greater maturity, balancing his career with parenting responsibilities. However, the pressures of fame, past habits, and personal struggles did not disappear entirely. Over time, both he and his wife faced challenges, including health and mental health difficulties that tested their relationship. Despite these struggles, they remained committed to working through their issues rather than separating permanently. Their relationship became an example of resilience under public scrutiny, showing that long-term partnerships often require continuous effort, communication, and adjustment, especially when both individuals are navigating personal and professional pressures simultaneously. A life-changing health diagnosis. In 2010, Michael Douglas was diagnosed with advanced throat cancer, a moment that dramatically altered the direction of his life. The illness required intensive treatment, including chemotherapy and radiation therapy, which severely affected his physical condition. He experienced significant weight loss, difficulty eating, and extreme fatigue throughout the treatment process. The experience forced him into complete withdrawal from public life for an extended period. During this time, his family played a crucial role in his recovery, particularly his wife, who supported him through the most physically and emotionally demanding stages of treatment. After months of struggle, he was declared cancer-free, marking a major turning point. However, the experience left a lasting impact, reshaping his perspective on health, vulnerability, and the fragility of life, and setting the stage for a more open and reflective approach to his personal history. Speaking out and changing public awareness. Following recovery, Michael Douglas chose to speak publicly about the medical cause of his cancer, connecting it to a virus linked to certain types of intimate transmission. His decision to share this information openly was unusual in Hollywood, where personal health details are often kept private. While some media attention focused on controversy, medical experts highlighted the importance of his message. His openness helped raise awareness about a health issue that many people were unaware could lead to cancer in both men and women. Discussions about prevention, vaccination, and early detection increased significantly following his comments. Although his words were initially met with mixed reactions, they ultimately contributed to broader public understanding of the condition. This moment marked a shift from private recovery to public advocacy, turning a personal medical experience into an opportunity for education and awareness on a global scale. Struggles within the family and separation. Even after recovery, the life of Michael Douglas remained complex. His wife experienced her own mental health challenges, which placed additional strain on the family. At one point, the couple temporarily separated, choosing distance as a way to reassess their relationship. This period was not defined by conflict alone, but by reflection and emotional reassessment on both sides. Despite difficulties, they eventually reunited, choosing to continue their marriage with a renewed understanding of each other's struggles. Their relationship evolved into something quieter and more stable, shaped by shared experiences rather than public image. This phase of their life highlighted how long-term relationships can endure instability when both partners are willing to acknowledge personal challenges and work toward mutual healing. It also reflected a shift from public glamour to private resilience. Recovery, redemption, and family healing. Over time, the family of Michael Douglas began to rebuild. His son, after years in prison, eventually achieved sobriety and began speaking publicly about addiction recovery. This process of healing extended across generations as each family member confronted personal challenges and worked toward stability. Michael supported his son's recovery and reconnected with him in a more grounded and honest way than before. These efforts reflected a broader shift in the family dynamic, moving away from denial and toward accountability. While past mistakes could not be undone, they became part of a shared understanding that helped guide future decisions. The family's journey illustrated how recovery is not a single event, but an ongoing process involving responsibility, forgiveness, and sustained effort over time. Each member, in their own way, contributed to rebuilding trust and emotional stability. Legacy, truth, and acceptance. Today, Michael Douglas is seen not only as a celebrated actor, but also as a figure whose life reflects both success and vulnerability. His journey includes career achievements, personal mistakes, health struggles, and moments of public honesty that reshaped important conversations. Rather than presenting a flawless image, his later years reflect acceptance of imperfection and a willingness to acknowledge consequences. His legacy is now viewed through multiple lenses: artistic contribution, personal growth, and public awareness. The decision to speak openly about his illness and its cause remains one of the most discussed aspects of his later life, not for controversy, but for its educational impact. Ultimately, his story demonstrates that even individuals who appear powerful and successful face the same human realities of health, regret, and redemption, and that honesty can sometimes become the most meaningful part of a public life.